Hey there, quirky people. Today I'm going to give you a recap of the cool movies that we've seen in 2021 till now. And then we'll talk about the sequels of those films which have been greenlit. There are certain movies that will certainly spawn sequels, but they haven't been announced yet. For instance, Free Guy is a film that should give us a part 2. Venom Let There Be Carnage is going to bring Venom 3 sooner or later. Upcoming movies like The Matrix Resurrection and Spider-Man No Way Home will have new entries in their franchise. And maybe even Ghostbusters Afterlife will bring part 4. But this video is only about the films that have announced their next installments, or the ones which are known to have sequels in works as we speak. So without any further ado, let's begin our list. First up, we have Nobody. Earlier this year, Robert Odenkirk showed us that he can't just kick ass in a courtroom, but he can also go full-on John Wick on an army of bad guys. Nobody turned out to be quite surprising for everyone. Bob worked hard to portray Hutch, and all that hard work was apparent in the film. It promised us a good thrilling ride, and that's what we got. Till now, a sequel has not been greenlit, but director Isla Nash-Hiller has confirmed that Derek Kolstad, who also created John Wick, is working on the screenplay of Nobody too. Connie Nielsen is also supposed to return for it along with Odenkirk. The film made $55 million out of a $16 million budget, and it showed a lot of promise. So when Kolstad is done with the story, I'm sure that Nobody 2 will be greenlit in an instant. Okay, next up, we've got Mortal Kombat. This gory R-rated action movie made $83 million at the box office, but it did wonders for HBO Max. Upon its release, it was the most viewed movie on the streamer. Like Nobody, Mortal Kombat 2 also has not been officially announced, but it has been reported that Warner Bros. Will turn this film into a franchise. There are plenty of setups for the sequel, and the most important one of those is the arrival of Johnny Cage. He didn't appear in the first one, but he is certainly confirmed for the sequel. Here, we might actually get to see the big infamous Tournament of Death. Next up, we're surely getting the next part of Army of the Dead. It has just been announced that Zack Snyder will continue to direct the sequel to his zombie movie, Army of the Dead. We got a perfect setup for the sequel in the end, as Van Der Rohe was revealed to be bitten. And now, he is going to turn Earth into a planet of the dead. Yes, that's what the movie is actually called. Details on this film are scarce for now, but Snyder has teased some more time loop fun to be part of the sequel. A whole franchise has been spawned out of this one zombie movie. Netflix just launched the Army of Thieves movie, and we're soon going to get a prequel anime series titled Army of the Dead: Lost Vegas, which will be centered on Dave Bautista's character. So, it will be interesting to see what Planet of the Dead has to offer beyond these projects. Up next, fans should really be excited for A Quiet Place 2. Like the first one, Part 2 is also directed by John Krasinski. It turned out to be a massive success, as it made $297 million from a $61 million budget. It wasn't as big as the first one, but this money came at a time when box office wasn't running in its usual flow. So that was enough to get another film moving. Well, instead of a direct Part 3, Paramount has fast-tracked a spin-off. It just lost director Jeff Nichols, but a new director will soon be appointed. Krasinski or Emily Blunt are not expected to return for this one. Instead, this film will do a bit of world building for the franchise. And then, we're finally going to get A Quiet Place 3 probably after this one. Another surprising sequel that was greenlit earlier this year was Cruella. Emma Stone did a remarkable job portraying Estella / Cruella. The creatives managed to turn this dog-harming villain into an anti-hero that we could root for. The film made $233 million worldwide, but it made a lot of money on its Disney Plus Premier Access release. So Disney has actually announced that a sequel is in works. After the news for Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow lawsuit broke out, rumors suggested that even Emma Stone was going on a similar path. But, in a surprising turn of events, she went on to sign a deal for Cruella too. Now, it'll be interesting to see where Disney is going to take this franchise. The biggest movie to get a sequel this year is F9.
Please tell me that's not a Pontiac Fiero strapped to a rocket engine?
Impressive. I know.
No, that's That's not impressive.
We already knew that after F9, Fast 10 was going to hit theaters. But now, this film has been turned into a two-part finale event. Fast 10 has been scheduled to release on April 7th, 2021, and Fast 10 Part 2 is set to arrive 2024. Filming is scheduled to commence in January 2022, and it will likely happen back-to-back. So this is where Diesel's family saga comes to an end. Jason Statham might also return for this one, as it was teased at the end of F9. But we're all interested to see if Diesel and Johnson would squash their beef and co-star in any of these two movies. Speaking of Johnson, another sequel that has been announced is for Jungle Cruise.
No, because she's crazy. She's crazy determined.
Disney wanted a replacement franchise until they could push more Pirates of the Caribbean movies under works. So, just like Pirates, they made another movie based on another one of their theme park rides. And guess what? This movie had tons of similarities to the Pirates franchise. But it was enjoyable for the most part, as Johnson teamed up with Emily Blunt. It also managed to do well on Disney Plus Premier Access and the worldwide box office. Sure, if it wasn't for the pandemic and a hybrid release, Jungle Cruise film would have at least doubled these numbers. But even this was enough to call for a sequel. Now it will be interesting to see when we get the second one because Johnson's schedule is stacked. Okay, next up, we've got ShangChi II. GWW recently stated that Marvel Studios have already begun developing ShangChi II. Well, we got plenty of setup for the sequel. In fact, some people even believe that the Ten Rings will now spawn a Disney Plus series of its own. So, it's quite nice that we're getting two new projects from the Shang-Chi franchise. Shang-Chi managed to make $422 million during the pandemic times, and without a Chinese release. With such a strong opening, a sequel was always a no-brainer. Maybe it could hit theaters in 2024 or 2025. We'll have to wait and see. For now, let's move on to the most unkillable man alive. Let's talk about Halloween Kills. After 2018's Halloween left us to believe that Michael Myers may have died, it turns out that he did not. And guess what? His story isn't over with this year's Halloween Kills either. His battle with Laurie Strode will come to an end in Halloween Ends, which is scheduled to arrive on October 14th, 2022. Hopefully, this slasher thriller franchise will not continue after this. For the last film, I'd like to talk about Dune.
Do you often dream things that happen just as you dreamed them?
Yes.
Denis Villeneuve's Dune is finally out, and it has performed extremely well against all odds. The director wanted to film Dune 1 and 2 back-to-back. But Warner Bros. Wasn't ready to invest a big budget in the second one, until they saw the results of Dune. Now that the movie has had a solid opening in the theaters and on HBO Max, Warner Bros. Has greenlit a sequel. Timothée Chalamet will return alongside Rebecca Ferguson, Javier Bardem, Zendaya, Dave Bautista, and Stellan Skarsgård. Dune Part 2 will unleash the sand power on October 20th, 2023. Besides these films, I've also got some honorable mentions. The first of them is No Time to Die.
Why would I betray you?
We all have our secrets.
Daniel Craig may not return as James Bond, but the final frame of the movie promised that James Bond will return. So, a new actor could continue as the infamous character in the same universe. Or we could get a reboot. Either way, the Bond franchise will give us another film for sure. For the last one, I've got Marvel's Eternals.
We're Eternals.
Hi.
Hello.
Obviously, Marvel has not announced a sequel to Eternals yet. But there was a massive post-credits scene leak after the Eternals premiere, and a key Eternal was brought into the mix. So clearly, a sequel is set up by this film, and we will get it despite the mixed reviews from the critics. Okay, that's all. Which of these confirmed sequels are you excited about? Let us know in the comments. Hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up icon if you like this video. I'll be back with some more content that will make you ponder upon the MCU. Till then, goodbye and have fun!